Welcome to the High Ground Podcast. I'm Stevie W.
And I'm Callum.
So, today we are looking at Goldeneye on its 25th anniversary. Okay, it came out November 24th in the UK, 1995. So 25 years of Goldeneye. So, I've got to ask you, Callum, what was your initial reaction after watching Goldeneye for the first time?
I loved it. I mean, I don't think I was quite... Was that 95? So I was at 8. Yeah, I wasn't old enough to see it in the cinema. But I do remember my mum and dad came back from seeing it, and a few weeks later, obviously, like, it was... whenever it was available to rent on VHS. It was like a year back then, wasn't it? I snapped it up because obviously, like, you know, if you're listening to this podcast throughout, you know how much of a Bond fan we both are. So, like, I was definitely on it. Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I thought it was just... Because it's always exciting when a new Bond takes over, because your expectations are... You don't know where they are, because you don't know if this is going to be a good Bond or... Like, I mean, I've never sort of seen any of the Bonds and thought, yes, I don't really like him. But it's just the apprehension of, like, seeing how it's going to be, and I thought Goldeneye was a great first start. I mean, you didn't like it at first, did you?
I didn't. Because I was well into my Timothy Dalton. I thought that Living Daylights was it was a brilliant film, and I thought it was a great change in direction after Roger Moore, and License to Kill was doing the harder edge, and so when for some reason it didn't resonate with me, to the point where I didn't see any of the Bond films at the cinema again till Die Another Day. So I missed, which really annoyed me, I missed Tomorrow Never Dies and The World Is Not Enough. I'm not so bothered about The World Is Not Enough, but Tomorrow Never Dies, which I think is I mean, out of the four Brosnan Bonds, I think Goldeneye and Tomorrow Never Dies are the two for me. But when I look at Goldeneye now, and it's, to me, represents... I could easily say, other than probably Man with the Golden Gun, that Goldeneye is the most watched Bond film for me. But in terms of the last 25 years, Goldeneye I've probably watched out a lot more than I've watched any of the others, because it is such a good film. I was wrong. I'll be the first to admit that my first opinion was really 100% wrong.
No, your opinions do change over time, don't they? I mean, I think there's a few films I've changed, totally gone 180 on that I never used to like, that I do like now. Same with Bond. I mean, I never used to really like License to Kill, but now I think it's it's probably up there, one of my favourites. I just, like you say, that what they were trying to do that was different, and it's all they want with Bond now, isn't it? To be tough and violent and dark and stuff. So, yeah, no, I agree. I see where you're coming from. Like, it's the first Bond film from a new Bond, so it's always going to be quite polarising, I think. Like, Casino Royale was quite polarising, wasn't it?
But that's
how people saw it.
Yeah, people were dissing on Daniel Craig as soon as they found out he was blonde and wearing a life jacket to the announcement for legal reasons and for insurance reasons. Sorry, I should have said insurance, not legal. And everyone was picking up on it just so that they were wanting to hate him before they'd even shot any film. And you just look at, it was a new Bond for a different generation. I'll admit that when I heard rumours going around that Tarantino wanted to do a Casino Royale, and with Brosnan that was coming out just before they announced Casino Royale, I was like, yeah, that would have been a great film. But when as soon as the trailer dropped for the first one for Casino Royale, I was like, yes. Then you find out it's Martin Campbell doing a second relaunch. I was like,
ironically, the same guy, wasn't it?
Yes.
They relaunched it twice successfully.
And I think that we'll obviously go into this a bit later. I mean, it's the launch of a second series of James Bond films by the guy who started the final 4 of the original incarnation of the character, cinematic incarnation of the character. So to reboot it twice is absolutely incredible. And
to have the same M as well.
Yeah.
Rebooted, sort of getting quote marks. But, I mean, like we've said so many times about Judi Dench, haven't we, that it's so perfect that she's there at the beginning of that new Bond era, and then she's the same Bond in the prequel era as well. You know, she's the same name in the prequel era, but you know, it's hard to explain, isn't it? But it just works.
I put it down to, I mean, if you want to go into modern days terms, it's J.K. Simmons in Spider-Man when he comes back in Far From Home. It's when he came up on the screen, I was like, well, it's just natural. It's Judi Dench is natural as M. So when you see her as returning in Casino Royale, it was as a different incarnation. It's just natural. There's no, wow, it's Judi Dench. You're like, oh, it's Judi Dench. You know, and that's how it should be. You shouldn't be like, wow, such and such is playing. Although it did work with the whole having Ray Fiennes, and you think it's going to be bad, and then that works. But in terms of fluidity, Judi Dench is absolutely perfect. And her casting, and her being this hard ass, was it number puncher? Who
I get the idea that she's Bond just thinks she's
I don't think I won't hesitate to send you something on the lines of I won't send you out to die.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just but
I won't do it on a whim.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look, I mean, it has a budget of $60 million and took a worldwide gross of 352, well, just over 352 million. Now, if we compare that to Goldeneye, Tomorrow Never Dies, which came afterwards, which was done on $110 million budget, and it took a worldwide gross of just over 333 million. So it was a better performer than its sequel, Tomorrow Never Dies. Whereas License to Kill was made for 32, which was, I mean, admittedly it was 6 years earlier, $32 million, and generated 156, which is a lot less than half. So, but then again, I think they needed the 6-year break after License to Kill, which was ahead of its time. Before you came into the timing was right for Goldeneye.
Yeah, I think as far as I'm aware, it's the longest break between a Bond film so far, unless this whole Time to Die thing takes the piss with COVID. But but they finished it technically, haven't they? So
I've been in the can since last April. I had tickets for all of one day. You were there when you were there when I booked the tickets. Then just to find out the next day they've been cancelled. So
annoying. Yeah. But no, I agree. I think the gap was needed definitely because, I mean, Pierce Brosnan was sort of tagged as being Bond before, wasn't he? But because he was with Remington Steele, was it?
Yeah, he was all set to be announced, and it was like at the 11th hour. There's screen tests of Brosnan from The Living Daylights.
Yeah, that's right.
But it was, you know, I look at it this way, it was not meant to be. And he may have been just a two Bond actor, and you know the timeline of them would have been completely different. It was just right. Dalton was the right Bond for Living Daylights and License to Kill, and Brosnan was the perfect Bond for what they needed to bring Bond back.
Yeah, he's like, I think he's always like my Bond. So like my era, what I grew up in, was my Bond. So that he's the 90s Bond essentially, isn't he?
Yeah.
But I think with Goldeneye though, the plot is really good as well, isn't it? Like it's not just it is kind of a typical James Bond plot, you know, like a maniac that's wanting to sort of take over and that. But we've said before that Trevelyan's one of our favourite Bond villains because we always love the villains that are Bond if he'd gone bad.
Yes.
You know, like there's only one bad day to make Bond. These guys, like Scaramanga as well, and Red Grant.
Silver.
But, Sean Bean's great as Trevelyan, isn't he?
He's brilliant. He is brilliant. And it's the whole, I've given you the same, giving you, was it 5 minutes, and it's really 3.
Yeah.
And was it something like Bond, Her Majesty's little lapdog? It's just,
Low Terrier.
Yeah, lower. You're better at the dialogue than I am. And it's, he is, they have to be the mirror images of Because admittedly, there is still the plot about the Goldeneye device, and but it's that you don't really remember the Soviet. You remember Alec Trevelyan. You do.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, and it's perfect. And it was another thing I always found was cool is it was the first film to be made at Leavesden Studios. The old which later went on to host the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And
the sequel trilogy as well, was it? Or they
Pinewood.
Pinewood.
It's now Warner Brothers, and most famous for the Harry Potter films in the studio.
Yeah, Harry Potter, isn't it? I get the two mixed up sometimes.
I gotta admit, ever since, I know it was not on the same sound stage and everything, but, when going to the toilets in the Warner Brothers studios, I always tribute James Bond by just looking up at the roof, up at the ceiling, just go, that's my little, every time I go, I have to do a little nod to James Bond, I just a little, I know it's just a private nod, but just looking up at the ceiling.
Sorry, forgot to knock.
Yeah. It's just, and the casting. I just want to, Joe Don Baker for a start. We can't gloss over him. Brad Whitaker from Living Daylights.
Yeah, he was in it before, wasn't he?
Yeah. And now he's Jack Wade because they really couldn't bring back Felix Leiter again.
Yeah, I don't know whether that was like a right thing or whether they just thought we'll try someone new. But he really is just Felix Leiter, isn't he? But not.
I think it adds a little bit more. I think he has a little bit more humour than Felix Leiter. We've been established, and it was just good to see Joe Don Baker being funny after being Brad Whitaker, and again, Living Daylights.
And they bring him back for Tomorrow Never Dies as well, don't they? But I'd like to have seen Felix Leiter in one of the Pierce Brosnan Bonds. Because he's always been like a staple, hasn't he? Famously, he's never the same guy twice, is he? Unless it's David Hedison and Jeffrey Wright.
Yes, you got that one.
Yeah. So, but I know it's just like a stand-in, isn't he, for that sort of character? Because there's always like a sort of ally of Bond, isn't there, that he uses, to help him get intelligence and stuff like that.
The CIA operative.
Yeah. I don't know why I just mushed there and I kind of think of the word. And
we have, I'm going through my notes now. I watched this in December. It's one of these things that, it's, but Moneypenny, the third one, Samantha Bond.
Ironically.
Yeah, I like her. She was a good Bond.
Yeah.
She was, she's now my, no offense to the other ones, but she's now my second favourite, because my favourite is Naomi Harris. I've got a soft spot for Naomi Harris.
I like Naomi Harris.
So, but yeah.
Funnily enough, I was I had a bit of a zombie-thon last night and watched 28 Days Later, and it's so weird watching her there and thinking, wow, she's Moneypenny now. Yeah. Isn't it? And she's a good Moneypenny as well. I think they've all been good in their own way, haven't they? Obviously Lois Maxwell's like the OG, isn't she?
Yeah.
But
even Caroline Bliss, where you can go to Barry Manilow.
She had like her own sort of. I think she was like the flirtiest, wasn't she? And then Samantha Bond's like the no nonsense one.
Yeah.
And then I think Naomi Harris is a bit of both. She's like, it's nice seeing the idea that she was a field operative, but she's rubbish at it.
Yeah. Plus she's, you say about 28 Days, which she's absolutely brilliant in. Also in Pirates of the Caribbean.
I forgot, I forget she's in so much.
Yeah.
But it's good to see her in the House of Bond.
Yeah, she was, after I saw her Dead Man's Chest, she was one of these actresses that I always thought was going to be huge. And
you're right.
Yeah. And we're going off topic, but to bring it back on, I don't know if it's PC now. Can we still use the term Bond girl? Okay, Bond girl. Okay, she's not technically one, but I've always said Famke Janssen is my favourite Bond girl.
Oh, she's 100% a Bond girl. You can't deny that. She's probably one of the best Bond girl villains.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I always find I do like the Bond. Like Bond is, their best show is quite fun.
So could you're sorry to interrupt, but your microphone seems to be playing up.
Oh, I might have my finger over it. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, I mean, like, normal Bond villains, they're usually like like we said earlier, they're the megalomaniacal, take over the world kind of guys. But I always find the Bond villain, the femme fatale ones that are bad are more interesting. And, I wouldn't say Rosa Claire's a Bond girl, but I do like her as a villain.
She's good.
And same with Xenia Onatopp. She's just fantastic. She just scenery chews, but it works so well.
There's a bit at the start with the car chase and was it Ferrari versus the Aston Martin?
Yeah.
Where the Ferrari had to win so they could use it, even though he just goes off the road.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I heard about that. I thought, wow, really? Like.
And she's in one of these. Was it the replica of the Sylvia Trench moment at the start of the film where Bond introduces himself?
With the Baccarat game.
Yeah. And it's.
Yeah, I love that scene actually. Even the cadence of Pierce Brosnan's voice, the way he pauses before he says James Bond, is the same as the Connery moment. It's obviously without the lighter.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think she's smoking in this one, isn't she?
She is.
I love that moment though. I think that I still laugh out loud when she tells Bond her name and he sort of goes on a top. Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
It's so good. I love it.
Yeah, come on, with all the names like we had Pussy galore.
Yeah.
And Octopussy.
Yeah, you can't really top that, can you?
Yeah.
BB Doll.
Yeah. Miss Goodnight.
Miss Goodnight, yeah. Holly Goodhead.
Oh. They got away with a lot. They did. They really did.
Christmas Jones is the worst one.
Oh God! If we're gonna ever do a podcast about James Bond films I truly don't like, the top two, because I know we've done our top 5.
Yeah.
But my top 2 that I just can't. They don't have they're, to me the hard watches is No Time to Die.
Do you mean Die Another Day?
Die Another Day. Sorry, Die Another Day. No Time. No Time to Die. It looks absolutely brilliant. Die Another Day, and The World Is Not Enough. I can't stand.
Yeah, I have a soft spot for The World's Not Enough. I think it is because I had a really good cinema experience with it. There was like a lot of audience participation. And it was my birthday, so I always remember going with my dad and my friends and that. And like it was more the day itself that I remember. Like it was, it was a Bond film when you were a kid, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's more like a Goldfinger sort of plot, isn't it? Where it's like a 1960s plot, I think, transposed onto a film from the millennium, which is quite weird. Yeah, I see where you're coming from, though. It is ridiculous, a lot of it. And the Bond girls are awful in it. I don't mind Sophie Marceau, but like I say, I like the villain ones more interesting, but Denise Richards is awful.
We're supposed to believe she's a scientist.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Interestingly, there is a Zukovsky's from Goldeneye in it, isn't he? So there was one good link.
Yeah, one. Hagrid.
I love Zukovsky in Goldeneye. It's just, I think Robbie Coltrane's perfect for that part. I
remember Robbie Coltrane when he was just a comedian. Now he's Hagrid.
Yeah, in fact, when you say Robbie Coltrane and people say who, you have to go Hagrid, don't you?
Yeah,
with the youngsters.
Whereas I remember he was on The Young Ones, a small part in The Young Ones.
Yeah, he used to be on a TV series called Cracker as well. Yeah. He was like a criminal psychologist, but yeah, no, he hadn't really had a part that everyone knew that he had it.
No. But it's better. I always say is when people go about, the likes of Alan Rickman, and there's now Carrie Fisher, who are essentially known for one role. I said, but they're just known for one role. I said, yeah, but it's the role. The amount of millions of people that they're affected. I mean, you'll have people that just love Hagrid as a character, and to affect even just to affect one person, love just for that one character is more than anyone could ever wish for. To
Of course it is. Yeah, I mean, it's like I always remember Patrick Stewart saying, like, "Are you embarrassed to be famous for being like Jean-Luc Picard?" And he said, "No, I'd have it on my gravestone, like, because no one would know who I was apart from that." It's the same thing, isn't it?
Are you doing a shout out now for how incredible that Picard TV series is?
I am, yeah.
Good point.
I'm more like lamenting the fact that we've never seen Patrick Stewart as a Bond villain.
I
would love that.
That would be good.
That would be good.
That would be. He's brilliant. Why can't you mean you've got cameos? They have cameos in the films. Like you just have Patrick Stewart just walking across the screen as Patrick Stewart. I don't think anybody would mind.
No, I don't think it would either.
He's British.
He'd be. I've always thought like he'd be a good M as well. Like the upper class guy that's got a heart.
He's in Bullock. He's like there's the head of CIA in American Dad is Bullock.
Yeah. Oh yes, about the closest, isn't it?
Yeah.
I actually think it is strange, but when I first saw Goldeneye, I don't think I was a fan of the Judi Dench thing, which is weird.
Yeah.
But I think after a long time, and I liked her while she was still on Brosnan's run, but I think it was Casino Royale and afterwards that cemented the idea, like we said earlier, that it just feels natural. Because I think when you watch the older M's like Bernard Lee and Robert Brown, I think they're just a bit like they're okay. Like it's traditional M, isn't it? Like you do like to see the old M's, but they're really stuffy and sort of like aren't they? So it's just, I mean, it's okay with Q because Q's like he's the man.
Q has a character. Is a developed character. Yeah. He doesn't like James Bond, and I think is it Terence Young that said. That said that you don't like it was Terence Young that introduced him, wasn't it? Q.
Yeah, I think he said something like you don't like him.
Yeah.
You hate the fact that he breaks all your stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's like a child. Treat him like a child.
Yeah, and I think that direction actually worked, whereas M is just stuck up and stuffy. It's like, here's your mission, Bond, and Bond will try and put him down by knowing more about butterflies than he does, or anything just to get one up. But it's like, okay, Bond, go and do your mission. Whereas Q will have character, and I think that Terence Young probably helped develop the role in that sense. It obviously went on to I have a brain freeze here on the Casino Royale timeline.
Yeah,
and but. Yeah, one thing I noticed, and when I was watching Goldeneye, is that Martin Campbell, who did Goldeneye and Casino Royale, which is, I mean, Goldeneye was essentially sort of going back to the basics. I think that Brosnan's Bond is more as a continuation. I know it's all in the same timeline, but it's very much like Sean Connery's, but updated. So you got Martin Campbell doing that, and with Casino Royale. And you had Terence Young doing the original Dr. No. Then Terence Young brought the character to the big screen, but Guy Hamilton with Goldfinger took it to the next level.
Yeah.
Bearing that in mind, Martin Campbell with Casino Royale and Goldeneye, Sam Mendes with Skyfall did what Guy Hamilton did with Goldfinger in creating how the mythology should be handled. My argument here is what I'm trying to say is that Martin Campbell and Terence Young are both responsible for creating the modern day James Bond that just took to the next level by Guy Hamilton and Sam Mendes. So as a director, Martin Campbell with Goldeneye started it all in motion.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I always felt like there was that sort of 3-film burst that you have with each Bond. Well, with, like you say, you start with Dr. No, it gets perfected with Goldeneye, Goldfingers. Too many gold titles in Bond, isn't it? Live and Let Die is a great start for Roger Moore. Spy Who Loved Me is the one that defines him as his Bond, his type of Bond. And same like we just said, hey, maybe not Goldeneye, well, it's not enough, but Goldeneye to Casino Royale, and then Casino Royale to Skyfall. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I always find the second Bond film, the in-between ones, like between the first and third. I don't know. I mean, Man with Golden Gun's a good one, I must admit. And From Russia with Love is fantastic.
Yep.
But then I think the other two, like Tomorrow Never Dies is good, but like compared to Goldeneye, it wasn't. And Quantum of Solace is totally there.
Yeah.
So
I like Tomorrow Never Dies because I like the introduction. I like it for Terry Hatcher's character, because she is the lost love.
Yeah, and Jonathan Pryce is fantastic in it. He's such a the hamminess works in that one.
And another Pirates of the Caribbean alumni. So
yeah, true, yeah.
Alex, I was looking at I'm going back to my notes again. Alan Cumming, Boris Goshenko. I am invincible.
Invincible, yeah.
I used to
love Boris.
I actually started. Anytime I watch it, I always grab I have a pen in my hand, and you just start. You want to flick the whole pen.
Doing the clicking, yeah. I do. I must admit, if we are going on to the gadgets, I really do like the exploding pen. I think it's quite subtle, but makes sense as well. What could you always carry with you that's inconspicuous? A pen. And I think it's one of the most sort of under-designed, but in a good way, Bond's gadgets that you can get. Because I think this one's quite light in gadgets, isn't it? I mean, he's got the piton on his belt as well, hasn't he, for the grappling hook thing, and the watch laser. But they're all sort of little things that you don't really. They're not like the jetpack from Thunderball or that's another thing as well. You don't really see much car stuff in this one, do you?
Well, it's a personal story. Take it back to
it switched to BMW, didn't it, for a while with Pierce Brosnan? But it was way more story based rather than gadget based.
Yeah, it was kind of. I mean, the BMW was sorry, it was still Aston Martin for Timothy Dalton. Sorry, I had brain freeze then again.
It's the V8 Volante, I think.
Yeah. But it didn't. BMWs just don't work like the Aston Martins, because everybody.
No, I just think, I don't know. Yeah, it's Bond's car, isn't it?
Yeah.
And by extension, Britain's car.
Yeah.
So I think when you see an Aston Martin, all I think of is the DB5.
Yeah.
And Sean Connery standing next to it with the Swiss mountains behind him, it's that Goldfinger image again, isn't it?
Yeah. No, so you never ever think of Pierce Brosnan and Vanish.
No, thankfully not. No, that's just weird that they brought the Aston Martin back for that film, wasn't it? Because it was the 40th anniversary. Yeah. But no, I don't think of that. No, I also don't think of the Citroen 2CV from The Eyes Only. No.
Okay, we got the hard ass with a heart. Bond's the last Bond's original bosses.
Yeah, and there's that scene, isn't there, the famous one where she sort of calls him out on his bigotry.
Yeah,
I think that's a great scene. I can't imagine anyone else but Judi Dench doing it now.
No.
I mean, I don't know if I've never actually researched to see if they considered anyone else or whether she was they wanted her specifically. But you can't imagine. I can't even imagine now, who's going to take. I mean, Ralph Fiennes.
Ralph Fiennes, brilliant.
That's another thing as well. The other characters, when another actor takes over, you're sort of, is this going to work? And I mean, as a kid, I never really sort of resonated with the older M's anyway, because, like we say, they're there to just give Bond his mission, aren't they? But like you say, they made her a character, so you're more like, I like this woman. She's badass.
Okay, we got the financial meltdown through the use of the Goldeneye agitator, but it's kind of like a secondary plot to Alex Trevelyan trying to get revenge for being betrayed by the British government. and his family
and
being betrayed.
I like the fact that it is normally like, I don't know, they're usually like a billionaire, aren't they? And they're like, they've got this new device that's going to end the world. Whereas, yeah, like you say, it's not the main plot line. It's just that's his other goal, to get revenge. But it's mainly, the revenge on Bond, isn't it? And it's personal.
Yeah.
And I like the personal villains. Like Scaramanga was always felt more personal because he was the same sort of cut from the same cloth, and Red Grant as well. You know, like this was the only job he was going to do. Just like the revenge is the only thing that Trevelyan wants.
Yeah,
he's quite similar to Silver as well, really.
He is betrayed by the British. Betrayed by the British government, Silver, and the whole thing where he took the cyanide and it didn't work.
Yeah,
that was gross.
Yeah, because I mean, even that's a similarity. Because I mean, Sean Bean has a disfigured face, doesn't he?
Yeah.
From the bombs going off, so I think they definitely took some cues from that.
If it works, reuse it or recycle.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the whole thing in the retreat in Spectre is definitely meant to be Piz Gloria. And if you haven't seen
if you haven't
seen On Her Majesty's Secret Service, go watch On Her Majesty's Secret Service. One thing which hasn't changed over the years is I do not like the title song Goldeneye, which was sung by Tina Turner and written by The Edge and Bono from U2. I don't like it either, to be honest. It doesn't feel like a Bond film, Bond song. You know, like that's another thing as well that comes along with the Bond apprehension, that what the song's going to be like. Because it's either there's never a song where you go, yeah, it's alright. It's either, wow, that was great, or that's shite. But I mean, like when you hear something like Skyfall from Adele, sounds like a Bond song. Like the orchestration is perfect, and you know. Whereas this one just sounds like a sort of karaoke song that you'd sing in a club when you're pissed. I think Die Another Day, Madonna. That was the lowest point.
Yeah, and Another Way to Die, is it? From Quantum of Solace. I hate that one.
But I got to get one that I really like. I like my favourite two are License to Kill and
License to Kill.
Sorry, not License to Kill. Sorry, Living Daylights.
That is a good song as well.
Yeah, and View to a Kill, Duran Duran.
Yeah, fantastic.
But
first one to go to number one, wasn't it?
It was, and Chris,
which is weird.
That was 1985. Chris Cornell's You Know My Name. That was boom. That was straight in your face.
I remember when you got the single for that, and it was just on repeat in your car, wasn't it?
I was good. Good. But,
yeah, no, it's not a strong song, this one, actually, I must admit.
It's David Arnold, isn't it, doing the score, though?
Yeah, which I do actually think is a good choice. David Arnold does some really consistently good scores throughout his run on Bond. I mean, because you forget he's done some, like, quite iconic scores. He's done Stargate, he's done, you know, whether you like Independence Day or not, like, he's got quite a good score. And he's one of those good sort of go-to sort of 90s action guys that's really good with the synthesizer and stuff like that.
And he also did the TV series Good Omen.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I didn't realise that. So, you know, when you see like the credits and you think, oh, was that them?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. So there's a guy called Eric Serra that did wrote the music for Goldeneye, and I don't like that sort of. It's like industrial sounding, like sort of echoey sounds that's on the soundtrack, like on the opening sequence with a gun barrel. It's like a weird version of the Bond theme, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I think eventually once, you know, when, if you haven't figured it out already, we are recording this remotely because we're in lockdown. But this is one of these films that I think that we are going to have to, we're going to have to do a commentary track for.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And we'll probably get through all the Bonds eventually, won't we?
Definitely. I mean, I just want to go, thank you to all our listeners, but I just want to go on a little bit of a, not a rant, but more of a, if it hadn't been for lockdown, but we're going to change the format of the High Ground podcast, as in we're going to do every other one being a commentary track, and doing this podcast made me realise how good a GoldenEye one would actually be. So once the world corrects itself enough that we can actually be in the same room together, we will definitely on somewhere down the line be doing a Goldeneye commentary track.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
So, I think we can ramp this up unless you can think of anything else we've not touched on.
I don't know, what about the action sequences?
I mean, the one that stands out to me is the one with the tank, because I thought that was really overblown and really 90s it was.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, unless you're sitting watching it with your dad, who used to be a tank driver in the army, and he's going, "That's not a Russian whatever tank." He's thinking, "Oh, sorry, Dad." But yeah, no, it is a great scene. Yeah, it's just so bombastic, and the fact that the Bond team is playing is perfect because it is something Bond would do, like grab a tank and just go around crushing everything.
He goes to, and it's the one man versus the world, and Bond can do everything. And I mean, the opening scene where he's taken off in the where he's the whole on the bike into the plane, and then the musical kicks in and all that. Like, it's just it's superb.
Yeah,
and
it was kind of like the pomposity of all the old Bond action sequences, but updated to like we said, Martin Campbell updated it all. Yeah. But you do still need the old style Bond stuff, like the stunts. I mean, even Daniel Craig, as realistic as his films are, the stunts are still. They should always be the centerpiece of the action scenes. Obviously, I mean, I like having Bond with more character now, but yeah, I mean, I was saying this the other day actually, that where a lot of film franchises have gone CG, Bond still uses real explosions and real stuntmen, and
except for Die Another Day, Ride the Tsunami.
Except for Die Another Day, yeah.
That's the low point. But
I mean, you've got the great Vic Armstrong. He's been in Bond for years, hasn't he? Yeah. And obviously in Indiana Jones and Star Wars, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's probably gave us some of the greatest stuntmen that we've had over the years. Yeah. And it's nice to just see real stunts being set up. Like the thing with the plane and the tank and that. It looks real. There's some guy driving a tank over a load of cars. It's not like Transformers where you just go, oh, it's just I don't even know what I'm looking at. No. It's just.
I like also the use of miniatures. When they can't do it, they can't do it full scale, and they go to miniatures because it is miniatures because it's got it doesn't feel like a miniature, but it's miniature because it's not CG, because you can tell CG. And there's a lot of films recently where it is CG, and some of the miniature stuff that they do using GoldenEye is still superb. That is, and I prefer that to the whole CG crap that we do get a lot of today. But it's the fact that, like we say, Bond sticks to its roots with everything. Even the sets, it's better. Real when they can, using real world locations rather than just saying, "Here's your backdrop. We're going to add it all in later."
Yeah, I mean, I was watching something the other day, and I said to my fiance, look how fake that background looks, the outline of them. I can't even remember what it was now, but how hard is it just to go somewhere and film it? It's just, it seems like a no-brainer to me, and it's something Bond's always done really well. They've always had the exotic locations, haven't they? And they've never sort of scrimped on the budget for the stunts and that. So yeah, I agree.
We've not actually. Isabella Scrupio, Natalia Simonova.
Oh yeah.
Very dispensable. I really didn't. She's not one of these ones that makes me go, yeah, wow. Yeah,
I mean, I've only ever even seen her a few times in another film, to be honest. She is a sort of forgettable Bond girl, isn't she? She's more like a sort of, I don't know, I call them circumstance Bond girls, where it's like the plot has made them a Bond girl rather than, like Holly Goodhead as well in Moonraker, that she's just. So I know she's ended up being a CIA agent, but I think that was added afterwards because, the fact that she just seems like she works there, and then Bond obviously comes in and fucks everything up. And but a bit like Tatiana as well. She's not. She's only there because she's the clerk that has the lector. No, what's it called? Yes, the lector, isn't it? The typewriter thing.
Yeah.
And I think Natalia's the same. She was just a technician, and all this shit happens, and she sees the psycho that killed everyone. So
she's protected, and so that Bond can have his little way with it afterwards.
Yeah. She's almost like a witness protection Bond girl, isn't she?
Yeah. That's actually true. Yeah. That is good. That is a good analogy.
She is, though, isn't she? I mean,
she's not really.
She's not one where you're like, oh, I remember this Bond girl.
Because Famke Janssen's there. You can't compete with Famke Janssen.
Especially the headbutt scene that's cut out of a lot of versions of it. I never saw that for years till I got the DVDs or the Blu-rays, I think. I mean, on video that scene was always cut, because I always used to think that scene's quite jarring, where, you know, it just cuts from her to Bond shooting the winch thing, and obviously like the good line of she always did enjoy a good squeeze.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I always remember that when I first saw that uncut, I thought, what? How did that get cut? It's like a full 10 or 12 seconds, isn't it?
Yeah, but you can't show headbutts in case it encourages. And this is one of the most ridiculous things. They did it for some of the earlier cuts of Attack of the Clones, where Django headbutts Obi-Wan. And you're thinking, you think that's going to be the problem? The problem is you got people. All it takes is a kid to pick up a broom handle or something solid and start whacking about, and you're caring about someone putting a bucket over their head and headbutting someone. I think. Yeah.
Apparently something to do with like it's one of the most easy to imitate violent actions. Well, what about a punch?
Yeah.
You know, like every film's got a punch in it, hasn't it? Pretty much. Like, it's just so stupid, isn't it? I mean, I've heard it can even like upgrade your certificate by one if you have a headbutt. Like it would have been a 12 if they'd left it in.
So
it's weird, isn't it?
So what about nut shots? How much does that get the certificate up to? It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh,
I think that's a bit of research. I think that's going to be a bit of research. Where can you hit people and how can you hit people? Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, where can you hit people so that you can get away with the certificates?
Yeah.
So that's kind of crazy. I'll be 1 second. Give me 2 seconds. So yeah, it's all kind of crazy. But yeah, we're having house stuff going on here, High Ground listeners. So we'll ramp this up in a few seconds. Are you up for that?
Yeah.
So yeah. So any final thoughts on Casino Royale? Sorry, Casino Royale. Goldeneye. We're still doing Goldeneye.
Well, it is the same. Yeah. The same guy. Yeah, no, just fantastic. I mean, even over the years, it's not dated or anything like that. I think it's just a solid, good first outing for a new Bond.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's absolutely it is. Well, I say it's one of my favourites. It's in my top 5. I mean, check out our other podcast on James Bond, which so yeah. You summed it up perfectly. I'm Stevie W.
I'm Callum.
See you on another High Ground podcast.
Bye.